That's the answer Adam came up with. How do we even know that that's the right one since it's from his journal? Meg asked. Again, we were all staring at each other suspiciously, and I realized Cole was right. This place is messing with our heads, I said. So you really want to try it? Adam asked. I shrugged. We got nothing to lose, do we? I asked. Cole rubbed his hands together and took out the portable charger that Meg had been using to keep her phone alive. Our lifeline to the outside world. Batteries are a great conductor of electricity, he explained as he took the figurine from the table. Hey, what are you doing? I asked. He stared at me. Relax, princess. I need to cut a hole in the charger, he explained, using the head of the figurine to jab at the small portable device. I watched as he completed the task and passed me back the slightly marred glass doll. Then he picked up one of the chairs and placed it on top of the table. You guys move it so that I can get right under the fan, he explained. Meg, Adam, and I obeyed without question and slowly pushed the table until it was centered with a wobbly ceiling fan. Cole stood there and climbed on top of the chair to reach the fixture. He carefully unscrewed the protective glass around the bulbs and then pressed it down to Meg. All of us watched silently as he smashed one of the bulbs and then held the messed up battery near to the wires. Then he asked Adam to rip a few pages from the book and pass them up to him. Okay, let's see if this works, he said as he unscrewed the bulb and then screwed it back to create a small spark. Carefully, he touched the base of the battery to the bulb and then held the paper close to it. Less than a second later, a spark of flame crossed the paper. Cole climbed down and looked at the book before saying, Let's see how he likes playing the game now. He dropped the small piece of paper on the book, and we all watched as the fire started to spread. I held my arms around my chest a little uncomfortably as the fire grew a little larger with each passing moment. Then it moved to the table. We need to keep going, Cole advised as he moved the chair and then held the broken bulb next to the battery again. This time he was on the floor near the carpet. Another small fire shot up and Megan squealed a little. It was clear all of us knew the danger we were creating. Yet, none of us chose to stop it. By now, one on the table resembled a little bonfire. I stared up at the cameras. Nothing. No reaction. What do you think he's waiting for? I asked. The others didn't say anything, but kept watching the flames. Cole took things out of the bag supplies and tossed them into the fire. Anything to make it larger. Adam grabbed one of the portraits off the floor. Meg tossed her cell phone in. But still no response from our captor. It's got to be some kind of waiting game, Cole insisted as the fire started to grow near the west side of the room. All of us huddled near the door, thinking at any moment we would be set free. Suddenly, one of the chairs collapsed from the weight of the flames. Meg's phone blew more sparks and fire was now covering the entire west wall. I pulled out my shirt, sweat pouring down my face. Do you happen to have a plan B? I asked. Meg took off her hoodie, trying not to have a heat stroke. Smoke was beginning to cover the ceiling. Megan nervously started banging on the door. Come on, open the damn door, Cole insisted as he joined her. Wake up, man. No one is coming, Adam snarled. He took off his shirt and tried waving it at the growing flames. Kelly, help me. Grab the water, he insisted. The backpack was about to be engulfed in the flames as I grabbed it and took out one of the bottles. Not nearly enough to battle the inferno that was rapidly spreading. This is bull, Cole shouted. His words were met with the sharp noise of another light bulb burning out, and I realized if the last one died, we would be trapped in the dark. Smoke was almost halfway around the room now. I covered my mouth and tried not to inhale as I backed up toward the wall. The inferno was relentless. Shit, 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 Meg shouted as the flames touched her jeans. She jumped back toward the wall we were all crowded against. She used her hoodie to cover her face. Her extra layers barely protected her from the rising flames. Adam reached for my hand. There were tears in his eyes. I knew he was thinking the same thing I was as the fire started to burn against our faces. Then, the last light went out. I heard Meg scream in the dark. I could feel the fire singe the left side of my cheek. None of us said a word as the flames grew larger. Cole started coughing profusely. Smoke was likely covering the room now. I closed my eyes and tried to block it all out. I cried out in pain as the fire hit my chest. Adam let go of my hand and I heard him fall on the floor. Dear God, Cole shouted against the endless burning sensation. I covered my head with my hoodie as best as I could, the fire slowly wrapping itself around my body as I felt each and every part of me be racked with pain. Amid the chaos, I heard something like a soft whisper, but I was in too much pain to understand it. Then there was a noise, like a vacuum, loud and roaring. I held my ears and reached out in the darkness for Adam or Cole. The pain was too great. The flames licked my body over and over again. I couldn't remember anything else except this torture as I laid there ready to die. Somewhere between life and death, I thought about Abby. The pain I felt was exactly what I deserved. I told her again how sorry I was. I could almost hear her soft, soothing voice telling me that it was going to be okay. I felt her hand touch mine, and then everything went black. I was ready for death, but only a living hell greeted me when I opened my eyes. I felt a soft, wet cloth dampen my sore, swollen face, and the fog in my brain started to lift. I was staring up at Adam as he tended to my wounds, staring at almost half his face burned away. He paused in what he was doing and gave me a half smile. Guess this ruins my modeling career, huh? He said. I was too weak to laugh. He helped me sit up and I looked about the room. The carpet looked fresh, the table back in place, the pictures back on the wall. The fire was completely gone. Like it never happened at all. Megan was curled up in the opposite corner as me, shaking and trembling from her own injuries. Cole was lying unconscious near the door. It was clear the fire had nearly burned up most of his lower torso. What happened? I asked weakly. Adam slipped down along me and held the cloth against his own sores. He was trying to play it off like he wasn't in pain, but I could tell that every movement hurt. If I had to wager a guess, our captor decided to save us at the last minute. Although, judging by my vision in my right eye, I'd say he could have come a few minutes earlier, he said. I shook my head and looked toward Meg. She was just trying to keep herself from going into shock. Cole? I asked as I gestured towards his burned body. Adam just simply didn't say anything. It was obvious that he didn't have a clue what had happened to our friend. I sat there for a long time and simply rested. When I was strong enough to get up, I walked toward the table and looked at the chairs. How is any of this happening? I asked as I realized none of them showed any signs of damage. But on the floor below, I realized something had changed. The bloodstain had grown significantly larger than when we first entered. And then I looked at our new supplies. 4 new bottles of water, 4 sandwiches, and a few medical supplies. At the bottom of the bag was a cell phone. What the hell? I asked as I examined it and realized it was exactly like Meg's in every detail. I set it down on the table next to the journal and the two of us waited for Meg to wake up. It was clear that the ordeal we had just gone through had taken its toll on all of us. Meg limped toward the chair and winced in pain. For the first time since she got here, I felt sorry for her. I tried to imagine what sort of plans she likely would have had if Jerry had never asked her to come. Probably one of the other freshmen. but now that I saw her barely able to walk, I realized she finally understood a pain similar to the one she put me through. Well, are we going to discuss what happened or what? She asked weakly. First, let's check your injury, Adam decided. He scooted his chair closer to hers and then used the other one to prop her leg up. I watched him rip off her slightly burnt jeans and examine her scarred leg. She looked away as he gently tested the area around the scarring, staring at Cole's fragile frame. Do you think Cole is... Meg began, trying not to hyperventilate. Let's not jump to conclusions, Adam said as he glared at me. I could tell he wanted me to distract her somehow. He took the medical kit out of her pack and placed alcohol on her open wound. Hey Meg, do you remember when we skipped school last semester? I asked her. She squeezed the chair and looked toward me. What? Yeah. Why? She asked. Adam nodded for me to keep talking as he gently dressed the wound. We had so much fun. Went to the waterfront, the mall. You made me eat those nasty raw oysters, I said. She smiled a little as she recalled the memory. That was the last time we really ever talked, she realized. Adam went ahead and applied the rest of the alcohol as she cried out in pain and finished wiping the residue off. Once he was done, she kept her foot propped. Sorry, I said softly as she glared at me. Why'd you even bring that up? Are you feeling all sappy and forgiving? Meg sobbed. I didn't say a word. I was still too torn up about everything between us. We sat there quietly, all our true scars beginning to grow inside our soul as we came to terms with how far we had fallen away from each other. Then we all started trying to come up with our next big plan. Something to keep our mind occupied, if nothing else. I heard Cole begin to cough gently, and I grabbed the medical kit and went over to him. I started to use the alcohol on his wounded arms, and he cried out in pain. I guess dying is out of the question, he said weakly. I looked at the phone again, certain that whoever was playing this game was telling us to look inside. I'm going to ask you guys a question. It's probably going to sound strange, I said. Go ahead, Kelly, Adam said with a nod. Do you think that this place might be, alive? I asked. The others didn't seem brave enough or admit anything, but Meg was the first one to voice an opinion. Do you think it's haunted? That's why all these damn things are here messing with our heads? She asked. She picked up the phone and threw it toward me. I'm going to die in here because of you three, she shouted. The device flew past me against the wall and then fell down, an image popping up on the screen. Adam bent down to retrieve it and froze when he saw the image. Is this some kind of sick joke? He asked. I frowned at him. What do you mean? He placed the phone down so that I could look at the pictures as well. I was looking at pictures of myself and Adam, Cole, Megan. All of us are smiling in the photo and look like we were having a good time. We're all sitting around a table in a small enclosed room. The same one we're sitting in right now.